Welcome to August at Gasper Cottage, which by the end of the month is filled with preparations for our open day on the 8th of September. Do come and visit us. We're just half an hour past Stonehenge if you're coming down the A303. You do have to get past Stonehenge though. And the garden, I've chosen to take us on a kind of walk as if you come on the open day. So you come in down here by the lake, parking's just in the field behind you. And it's a lovely place to start. And obviously we're encouraging you to, not to stop and linger too much now, but come on up to the house and pay. So that takes you up on the path through the orchard, which is the direct path back up to the house. And you come past the silver birch, and then there's a little cut through this little bit of formal hedge to the terrace where there will be people waiting to take your money away. But you could, from there, you can head off into the silver birch, or you can look back at the orchard, which I have to say, on a sunny morning like that, is pretty magical. Or you can start to look at the garden proper. And, this area of planting, it's got a lot of complexity, and there's both airy features and more solid stuff. I am loving the fact that there's this really great pink rose, and it's doing a really good second flush, so this is very happy times. But that compared with the delicacy of this Althea Cannabina, I'll say delicacy, it's as tough as old boots, it's about 8 foot high, but it's still delicate. But your eye keeps being taken to the view, whether you're looking out this way across kind of the back of the Stourhead Gardens, or you're turning to the other side and looking back into the pond and into the planting. It's always a very happy little path round, but from there you also get the first glimpses across into the centre of the garden. And I always like to think of this hotbed as being the heart of the garden. It's geographically right in the middle, and the colours are obviously warm, and that would be what you would find at the centre of something, in my mind. And it's looking glorious. The oranges and the reds set against both the green foliage and the purple foliage. Very, very good combinations. Bishop of Llandaff, you've got to love it. It was the dahlia that made dahlias popular. And then this sunflower called Earthwalker, which is a kind of very multi-stem, sort of multi-head version. It's very good. And as you look along the big curved border, whether you stop to look at the individual elements or take it in as the whole thing, I'm loving watching those sedums moving day by day, pinker and pinker. But the touches of the apricots in here from these various dahlias goes incredibly well, surprisingly, with the mauves and actually with some of the creamy colours as well. The front garden is as dotty as ever, filled with growth. This is a new lobelia that we've had this year, which Hadspun purple is very, very successful and forms a real sort of punctuation point through this bed. It's definitely happier on the shadier side of the garden. Kevin, of course, is happier when the sun shines, but he's pretty happy all the time, really. He's a good cat. More dahlias, salvias, cosmos, all those late flowering elements that bring just the colour and joy, and why we choose to open all the way back in September. That and the Japanese anemones. This is a particularly nice one. And as you come around the corner, the Birch Grove is filled with light and air. There's not a huge amount of colour right now, but it's still beautiful. But that kind of then leads your mind further out into the garden. So there's always the railway to explore. And if you're not so into the railway, looking away from the railway into the planting in the railway garden, there's a lot to enjoy there. But from the railway, we now have these new steps that lead you back up to the studio garden. And it's quite fun because it effectively forms a level crossing over the railway. And as you go up them, you can turn and look along the planting and along the railway. And again, we've repeated that lobelia in there, and there's all the grasses are up and proud and catching the light and looking glorious. In the mornings, the light comes from that way. In the afternoon, the light comes the other way. But come and visit. 8th of September, very good value, and we would love to see you there. And wouldn't you just love to see these dahlias in person?